Wuthering Waves coast to $150 million. The Shorekeeper's release helped surge revenue, but a monthly decline is yet to overturn. Now, if this is your first time here, consider subscribing to the channel, hitting the little bell notification, that way you remain up to date with every single thing that I post, and I post daily. Do not miss out. Version 1.3's launch date brought a 292% day-on-day revenue spike. That is big. Kudo Games' open world RPG Wuthering Waves continues to make a splash as it sailed past $150 million in gross mobile revenue in just over 4 months since its launch, according to App Magic estimates. And for those of you that are unaware, App Magic is very similar to Sensor Tower. There is no way to definitively gauge exactly how much money a game makes. This is all speculation. Nevertheless, just like Sensor Tower, these give somewhat of a view as to how a game is doing. Thus, while it is imperative that we take this with a grain of salt, we can at the very least use these websites as a gauge as to the increase or decrease of a game's revenue on a month-by-month basis. The title has made the majority of its mobile spending from players in Asia, with China and Japan each contributing 23% of that $150 million sum, and also, as I'm sure you're well aware, this is for mobile only. This does not include PC revenue, which could make up another $150 million, or it could make up double what mobile makes, remaining neck and neck for some time. South Korea ranks third with a consistent 17% contribution, while the US accounts for 15% of players' spending, which is actually kind of surprising because like the first month or two of the game's launch, I feel like over half the total revenue was from global players. At least that's what Gacha Revenue, that's what Sensor Tower were reporting. While the title has had a highly successful launch, revenue has declined each month since its June highs when it surpassed $60 million. This is true. The title accumulated $30 million in July, $16.4 million in August, and then $10.7 million in September. Although as of the last 24 hours, it seems as though Gacha Revenue has once again readjusted the total. Wuthering Waves coming in at 11.5 million rather than the 10.5 million that it was reporting the day before, or the 6 point something million that it reported several days ago at the beginning of the month. This is once again an indicator as to why you shouldn't trust these websites. It should be noted that the latter figure meant that the title still ranked as the 102nd top grossing mobile title worldwide. It took 2 months for Wuthering Waves to surpass $100 million and a further 2 to generate $50 million, at least on mobile. Monthly mobile player spending in Wuthering Waves. So May was its launch. I think it reported like 8 days. June was the release of Yinlin's banner, which I believe was arguably the highest selling banner of its entire life. Then July was, I believe, Jinsa. Jinsa's release date was June 28th through July 22nd. So the majority of July was thanks to Jinsa. Although it looks like Chongli was released on July 22nd. So the bulk of Chongli's sales were actually also in July. August 15th was the release of Zheja. And then in September was the release of the free character Shang Liao. With this in mind, it is completely understandable why it has been in a state of decline. Now, with the release of Shorekeeper, supposedly the game has been at a 292%, almost 300% day-on-day spike. June 6th remains Wuthering Waves' most lucrative day, with $5.5 million generated upon the release of Yinlin. The month as a whole saw Kudo Games hit make the top 3 of all mobile games for Gacha Revenue, alongside Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail. The recent launch of version 1.3 and the Till the Sea Turns Clear event on September 29th has sparked a resurgence in player spending, and it is understandable as to why. Have you seen Shorekeeper? The event has introduced the 8th act of Chapter 1, which was really good, named To the Shore's End, as well as a high rarity mythical entity called the Shorekeeper, who is incredible, only obtainable for a limited time. The Shorekeeper's restricted availability incentivizes players to spend on the gacha while they can, and paired with her base pull rate of 0.8% helped create a 292% revenue spike on version 1.3's launch date. Across Apple's App Store and Google Play Store, the game earned $2.4 million on September 29th. Before we go any further, let me take a moment here to thank my incredible patrons over on Patreon and my YouTube channel members who allow for me to continue to do dedicated videos like this every single day. You guys are phenomenal, and I can't thank you all enough for the support. Now let's keep talking. With this in mind, it seems as though that is a little under half of what Yinlin made. Now, Yinlin was the first major character release of Wuthering Waves. She was the first female limited banner character, and arguably the best looking character in the game up until that point. Shorekeeper making almost half of what Yinlin's banner made in its first day is an indicator that potentially revenue for Shorekeeper's banner could end up being somewhere near half to where Yinlin's banner was. And I don't want to jump the gun here. I do think Shorekeeper has the potential to, for the first time since the game's release, actually see an increase in total revenue. Every month, as reported, has seen a decline. 46 million, followed by 29.5 million, followed by 13.5 million, and then last month was 11.5. Again, these are approximate. This is speculation, but it is nevertheless proof that there was in fact a decline each month. I think this could be the very first time it sees an incline. I think this is the first time the game could probably, perhaps potentially, at least on mobile, spike back up to over 20 million. Shorekeeper is proof that there are a lot of people still interested in the game. The game is doing incredibly well. I've been tagged dozens of times over the course of the last like 7 days, 8 days, telling me, Stix, have you seen Wuthering Waves rating change on the Google Play Store? Everywhere around the world since 1.3's launch, this used to be at a 3.7, 3.8, and now after the release of 1.3, it spiked up to 4.8. This is one of the highest rated gacha games now, as of 1.3 on the entire Google Play Store. I hate comparing games to other games, but I do think it's worth noting here, Punishing Gray Raven is currently at 4.4 stars. This is very high. Genshin Impact is currently at 3.3 stars. Tower Fantasy is somehow higher rated than Genshin Impact at 3.8 stars. Tell me how that makes any sense whatsoever. Also, over the almost 2 years of Tower Fantasy's existence, it has 5 million downloads and 183,000 reviews. People were saying that Wuthering Waves still hasn't achieved the success of Tower Fantasy. Wuthering Waves has already achieved just as many downloads on the Play Store as Tower Fantasy did, and already has more reviews. More people have played Wuwa in like 3 months than people have played Tower Fantasy likely in 2 years. Zenless Zone Zero is rated 3.7. Also has roughly the same amount of downloads, significantly less reviews. I do also want to point out that Punishing Gray Raven, phenomenal game. Genshin Impact is a great game. Zenless Zone Zero is a really good game. Honkai Star Rail is 3.8. That does not make sense. This should be like 4.5 stars at the very least. 400,000 reviews. That's fantastic. 10 million downloads. This is arguably one of the best games and is definitely Hoyo's best game. But this is proof that Wuthering Waves, at least with 1.3, has done exceptionally well and has shifted the narrative for how players all around the world perceive this game to be. This game has done incredibly well with the Shorekeeper patch. Sales are up, downloads are up, positive reviews are up. They are killing it. They are shattering every expectation possible with 1.3, and I can't wait to see if they can maintain this momentum in 1.4 and 2.0. Hey you, where do you think you're going? Don't you close out of this tab. I didn't give you permission to do that. Sit your ass back down. Click one of the 2 videos that are going to be on screen in just a moment and keep watching my content. Keep enjoying my content.